Nigger. Where did it come from? What's it mean? And why do we allow people to have the power to make it a negative stereotype? It's Lala A. This is day 6 of my series, What They Won't Tell You. When I say they, I mean people such as my examples. Washington Post. Back in January the 11th of 2001, they actually came out with a news article about the term nigger. And they assumed that it derived from Latin. It's wrong. It actually didn't. Furthermore, if you go out and look up Merriam-Webster's dictionary online, they're going to tell you that a nigger is a noun, and it refers to a black person, or it refers to a member of any dark-skinned race, or a member of a socially disadvantaged class of persons. Still wrong. Modern term. Let me break it down for you. Now, as a philosopher / Pan-Africana studies minute expert, I'm going to start it out truthfully. Naga began with Hindu. It meant serpent god. Now, Naga is not nigger, but I'm going to go all the way through. Mind you, Google the rest or read like I have about the rest, and then you can fill the spots, because we were slaves to so many countries that you have to understand that when we were slaves to other countries, the spelling, the language, and the pronunciation was different. But remember, 1, Hindu. It actually meant serpent god. Then you have Niger, which is Latin, but that's 2, debunked in Washington Post. And it actually means emperor in Igbo, which is a tribe in Africa. Niger, or Nigeria, it actually means queen, but in Igbo, again, African tribe, it actually means empress. So then we go ahead and we go talk about the term Nigger. That means the golden one. That came from the Egyptians, Kemet. And actually referred to as the god of Geb, Seb, or Keb. Depends on what you're reading, whether or not the Romans defeated us, and what was interpreted and misinterpreted with the hieroglyphics. Yeah. Know your history. Then you have Negosi. Negosi. You see? It actually means blessing. And it comes from the Igbo tribe from Nigeria. So then you have Negus, which is crazy. I'm pretty sure people have seen the phenomenon of the little white boy trying to spell it, and they thought that he was saying nigger. No, it actually comes from the Rastafarian Bible, just so you know. And it's also related to Nigeria. Let's talk about Niburu. Niburu, right? That sounds weird. Well, it comes from the Sumerian race. I'm telling you. And it means golden light, as far as like a halo, according to the Babylonians. Then we go to modern, Negro, Spanish, of course. Then we go to Negiri. Negiri. Who you think would say that? The French. It's the modern day French. When you have the African Francophone that's actually over there, read Frantz Fanon, who wrote Blackface, White Mask about Africans in French and the adaptation and et cetera, et cetera. That's what they're called over there in France. Not to mention, we get to the modern current day term, black. That's an adjective. It means dark skin or to be black skin. Not an adjective. Then comes the term nigger. And it's so crazy because nigger, in a lot of scholars' opinions as well as mine, nigger is not a derogatory term. Although during slavery, that's what they called us to demean us, because it was sort of like a hierarchy where they wanted to put the whites here and the blacks here, thus the civil rights movement. They used the term in America due to the broken English of British, and they decided to call us Negro. Remember, when we got free, we couldn't read or write. We heard them saying that to us. We didn't have a name. We were chattel. We were property. So we pronounced it nigga or nigger. I'm going to need people to understand that. Now, you can't get upset because historically it's accurate, and our ancestors who were slaves call themselves that as well. Do not get it twisted. And it's so crazy because back then it had a very negative stereotype, just like Webster's dictionary, that feeds into the foolishness, as I already read before. So now let me tell you some of the things that they call you. Now, whether or not it's a noun, a verb, or an adjective, it still means stupidity, worthlessness, or what have you. Back then, we went from coon to Tom to savage. We went from porch monkey to pickaninny. Yeah. Mammy. We went Sambo, Jigaboo, Mulatto. Keep going. All those mean a negative stereotype. I don't care how you use the title, how you refer to a person. And the crazy thing is most blacks like to say it means an ignorant person. No, it actually doesn't. The term has come centuries upon centuries. Okay, I believe civilization started with the Egyptians personally. You can't tell me anything differently because that's my research and that's what I know. So for me, I feel like it actually started with Nigger, the golden one. However, I do give respect to Niger and Nigeria because they're traditionally African. I also give props to the Igbo tribe, whether it's the Fanti people, whether or not it is the Abes, whether or not it is the Dogon people. I'm Iwe. So it just depends. But the part that I really want to go ahead and just touch on was the turn of the century didn't happen until what? Jim Crow's, right? And that's when you have Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you have Rosa Parks, stereotypical ones y'all know about. Yeah, we'll talk about Nat Turner later on. But they wanted to not be called that term because that's all they were called. And there was a negative connotation because we were illiterate. We were poor. We were at the bottom. Now, historically, that's correct. Was it right? No. That's why the Civil Rights Movement. So that was Martin Luther King's way and everyone else who was affiliated with it for him to be able to give us a better name. So he said blacks. Don't agree. He also felt the need to say African Americans. Now, the problem with that, as I already discussed, is we're not African Americans. We weren't born in Africa and then denounced our citizenship and then gained American citizenship. That's a true African who's living here or who's married and here. Whether or not they're South African and they look European, they're African Americans, and I've met them and they'll tell you that. So I say all this to say, you need to learn your history. We need to understand as well what to be called. You get mad when people say nigger or negro or nigra or what have you, and it's dumb to me. I say nigga all the time. I say it around whoever I want to because in my world, I feel like it means brother, sister. It's a connection. Do I think white people should be able to say it? No, because of the hierarchical scheme that they created to demean us. However, I also think that Caucasians should be educated on the term and where it came from because it did not start off as a derogatory term. It did not start off as something negative or a stereotype. It evolved into that. But now that blacks are educated, blacks or African Americans, we're educated enough to know, okay, don't give the white man that much power that he can call you that and you want to fight him. You want to be ignorant and belligerent when you don't even know the history of it. You want to down them and be ignorant and feed into the stereotype. That absolutely makes no sense. I'm just saying. That's why they associate the term nigger or nigga with ignorance. And it's sad because in America today, we still do have a hierarchy with whites and blacks. The only difference is it's closing in. However, the gap is still large. So for the communities, I'm from the hood. Don't look like it, but I'm from the hood. I'm from Tatumville Projects in Savannah, Georgia. I lived on Tatum Street in my grandmother's house with the crack house on the corner. Now, I will say I'm not a product of my environment. You cannot look at me and tell my story. However, I'm still educated enough to know where I'm from and not forget. No matter how much education I get, being educated does not make you white or less of a nigger. I'm just saying. So in saying all of this, I just want to put out there what it means. Stop giving other people power over it. It needs to be redefined as brother, sister. My white friends call each other niggers. They never call me that, but they call each other. It doesn't bother me. Just like when they hear blacks say it to one another, it doesn't bother them. Some whites are iffy because of the connotation that's attached to it, so people do get offensive. Read a book. Read a couple books. Do your research. This needs to be changed. I'm the first one to advocate change for the term nigger because Webster's dictionary has it wrong, and I think that Washington Post needs to do a retraction because that's absolutely incorrect. See, if I had to define it, I would define it as Nigger, and I would list all the names. You ready? Write them down. Naga, Niger, Nigeria, Nigger, Negosi, Negus, Neburu, Negro, Niger, Black, Negro, Nigger. And then say that it is a noun. It's a person who relates to another person as their brother or sister because they identify. There is no way I would allow somebody to have that much power to offend me, even if they called me that. I still respect my ancestors, and those who did the civil rights. Do not get it twisted, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be educated. I wouldn't be in a Divine Nine. I would not have made it this far. I wouldn't have the privilege of sitting in the back of the bus, although all the blacks like to sit in the back of the bus. Never did. So it's really sad and disheartening. Change it. Read about it, share it, and spread it, and take back the power that we had, because it means king, it means queen, it means empress, it means the golden one, halo, God, blessings, from other cultures that weren't even what? The adjective black. Love you.